board. First of all, if you were paying attention, let me say it like this, like I put in, I think in the Blue Kachina book, actively paying attention. Not just paying attention, right? If you were paying attention, he said even the Ouija board teaching came from phase one. Remember they were saying all that shit, oh, you try to take his shine, da-da-da-da, right? And remember I had to say on the live, I said, Ta, we got to do this another way, right? Because the people weren't ready. They were ready to be fans. They weren't ready to pay attention to the plans. So I said, Ta, we got to go a different way. I'm going to have to step back a little bit, okay? But if you paid attention to my rhetoric, even in the Ouija song, okay? So did you know your phone was a Ouija? That's the teaching of phase one. The phone is a Ouija board. You don't know what you're talking about. He even said, I got that from phase one. Y'all hate phase, but I learned everything I got came from phase one or Malachi. And I learned about Malachi from phase one. They still weren't listening because they wanted to work their own move and see their own illusion, which is why a lot of them have gone away and they didn't stay the course, and they won't stay the course for what's coming. So be ready, everybody, especially those of y'all who are aligning with Pharaoh Clans, to keep moving like Yanun and get that lesson of what that means, to be more unseen than seen, okay? You have to understand what sleight of hand is really for. The elite know it. Go back and read How to Speak Elite. You're going to get it, and you need to get it from a hold. I'm telling you, if you haven't read it in a while, it's going to hit different now, okay? So stay with me. In the Ouija board song, I say, or did you think that this shit was coincidence? I literally said it in the song. Did you think that this shit was coincidence? You don't know the power that sit in my hand. Everything was written by phase one. You go back to SoundCloud, all right, and you will see one of my mixtapes was called Letters from a Watcher. And before I ever did the big letters, I was doing letters, all right, back when I was 14, 13, 15 years old, around that age. Okay, before I ever got out of high school. As a matter of fact, if you really been paying attention, you would know Pharaoh Clan isn't something new, is it? Pharaoh Clan was a plan that I had when I was 14 years old. And I told all of the Pharaoh Clan members, who some people may be here now, all right, so y'all vouch for it. If you're not here and you weren't there, you'll be able to go to Phase One Productions on YouTube and type in the words Amen, A-M-E-N, Amun, A-M-U-N. Okay, which means hidden or unseen. Stay with me if you can. All right. And even then, I was explaining to people that there's a plan. Okay. And I told Pharaoh Clan what we were going to be doing. I told them that woke as we know it was going to be infiltrated and taken over, and that I was going to come out after that happened and show everybody what it was about. You'll see me with the big ass Unk on. You'll see me with the Nuwaubian Nation or the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors flag. All right. You will see all of that in the music video. Amen. Amen. You will see the brothers surrounded by green. They throwing up the pyramid. Me explaining about the pyramid not being demonic. All of that's the Pharaoh Clan teaching. Okay. You go back and listen to what I did, the Exchange Bryson Tiller remix. Stay with me. In a song called Vision with the purple light. So all of this was happening when I was 15, 14, 13 years old, around that age when I got the name Phase One, and I went into high school and I started to teach the 9th graders that were around me, 10th graders around me, and 11th graders and 12th graders that were around me. Okay. A lot of people attended my classes that were not just 9th graders, all the way up to 12th graders. Even the teachers was in there learning and asking questions. And you see that when you look up 16-year-old what? Mason, right? It'll pop up and you're going to see me as a 16-year-old wearing the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors flag, okay, with the blue Oreo jacket, Oreo as in what? The black and white, the Mason. Come on now, stay with me if you can. All right, the blue Oreo jacket and the purple tie. Stay with me if you can. And I was explaining all of that, and one of the brothers posted it up. I didn't even tell them to post it up. And that was a video that was only 6 minutes long and some change. How long? 6:07, 6 minutes and 7 seconds. Stay with me if you can. Which is 13. Stay with me if you can. Which is the letter B. Stay with me if you're able to. All right. Which all this is calculated and written a certain way. Remember, I told you letters from a watcher, and you look at the cover and you'll see that I had a pen in my hand. Stay with me if you can. So that video went viral. I didn't make it go viral, but did I? You don't know the power that sit in my hand, right? When I say you don't know the power that sit in my hand, the power that sit in my hand is my pen. Okay. And my pencil. And I was taught this as a child. This isn't something new. I was taught alchemy as a child. Say, listen, you can make anything happen. All you have to understand is the fundamentals and the elementals. All right. Same reason why you went to elementary school, to get the basics. Once you understand the basics of how a thing works, okay, you can make anything happen with that thing. If you don't understand the basics, then you run a risk of not being able to know what's happening. Stay with me if you can. So the Ouija song was me literally telling y'all in plain sight, You think I just met Ty. Without telling you, you think I just met Ty. So I let everybody say, oh, you just found out about this person. Now you're trying to write off his said da. And I told Ty, I said, okay, here's how we're going to run it. You don't know me. You just met me. You just found out who I was online. I don't know you. I saw you when you went viral, and I had to support you because you were screaming free Malachi York, because they stupid. And they want to be stupid because they attacking me, not even knowing that all of this is my work. So he said, okay, bet. And we said, hut. And then we went. All right. And he kept doing his thing, dollar, he dropping his songs. And I did my thing over for a while, and let that disagreeable energy fizzle out. And then you start seeing me pop up a little more. And a little more, and on the live, and a little more. And now it's like, oh, 1440 Ty signed to Pharaoh Clan Records. Yeah, not 1440 Ty signed to QC, not 1440 Ty signed to Sony, not 1440 Ty signed to... So why do you think 1440 Ty signed with Pharaoh Clan Records? Because that was all a part of the plan. But see, the thing is, they listening now. They're like, oh, we got them figured out. But let me tell you something. Even what I'm telling them now, this ain't nothing but a small little piece of tile in the huge $300 million home. You see, it's a small piece of the tile. Because if I could calculate all of this, including virality, which people didn't even know was a thing, then what else could I calculate? Well, how did you calculate virality? There ain't no way you say that. Well, Ty would tell you, if you ask him, but you don't know to ask him, that June 20th, I told everybody, I said, listen, actually it was June 27th. June 27th, I told everybody, I said, something big is about to happen with Malachi's name in the algorithm. Everybody watch for it. It's coming soon. Right? Todd didn't know who it would come from. That's a whole other thing. Right? But it happened and it went viral. Okay? Stay with me. Remember the June 26th event with the green light in the sky, the meteorite that came, all of that. It was a lot of stuff that happened June 26th. Okay? Shortly after, Todd went viral. Okay? Now, again, all of this was being seen as phase one just found out about somebody because he went viral. But go watch that Can't Stay Here music video. And tell me who right there in the background. Hidden in what? Plain sight. Because you ain't paying attention. So why are you talking? Why are you speaking on some shit you don't know nothing about? This is beyond you. That's why I said in that little snippet I posted up, for all y'all agents in here watching, all right, you might be playing right into my hand. We stay 9 steps ahead of the enemy. If you see me, I want it to be seen. If you capture me, that's a part of it. If you hear my voice and it sounds anything different than what you were just listening to a few seconds ago, there's a calculation there. But what is that calculation and what does it mean? It's up for you to find out. It's up for me to know. Right. Huawei. So watch this. Let's go back to the Ouija. The Ouija song was dropped. Okay. This was after the Jesus Homeless song. They're like, oh, we don't get it. You taking his song. You don't know what's moving. I had already communicated with 1440 Ty. That wasn't a lie. 1440 Ty has received, revenue from that song, and he received 100% of it. So I don't know anybody that would have done that, for one, which I don't care about how y'all do things. But I told him they should have immediately set his stuff up for him to make funds from it, because that was a viral song that he would have been able to partner that with the GoFundMe. Y'all weren't listening. He said, phase one told me to start the GoFundMe because everybody was so busy trying to capitalize off of his motion at that time. They weren't focusing on putting him in position. You see? So he see all of that. He ain't stupid. People ain't stupid. People think homeless means stupid. Now let's deal with the homeless thing. Yes or no? Don't I have an album called Homeless? Okay. Let's stay with it for a second. Let's stay with it for just a second. There's an album that I came out with around 2021, probably around that time, if not 2020. It was somewhere around it, 2021, right? It's called Homeless. You go back and listen to that album, it explains a lot of things. And then the homeless rapper thing. What, like, are y'all reading between the lines? Everything is a part of the lineup. So I didn't know 1440 Ty was homeless. That's the truth. Until the viral thing took off. I had no idea because he never told me that. He said, I told you. So you never told me that. So he may have spoken to others about it. He never said it to me. He came to the gatherings and all of that. I never thought that he was homeless. Never was told he was homeless. So when that took place, I said, I understand that. And I knew what that was about and why that happened that way. Y'all with me so far? I hope I ain't losing nobody because it's all going to line up with the foolproof method. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, I didn't know that. I had no idea. So when people started to DM 1440 Ty, you want to know what he was doing? He was checking in with me. He said, yo, you know this person? Like, yeah, I know them. They got a problem with this, that, and the third. And after a while, it started getting so many people started coming to him. I said, look, this is what you do. When they hit you up, speak on, like, mention me. It's the reason why I told him that. I said, look, when they hit you up, mention me and see what they do. And he said, every time I mention your name, they stop messaging me. I said, there you go. That's going to keep you protected. Like, ask them about me or tell them to talk to me. And that's when the conversation going to end. Euro got it, all of y'all. Yeah, he bring up my name, and I was like, yeah, I would love to work with bro. No, you wouldn't, because you blocked me in 2020 because I was speaking on the same things y'all trying to run from. So y'all try to associate yourselves with people that you think going to be more commercial and less threatening to your brand, okay? And that's another thing I said. Anytime people reach out to y'all, just tell them, check in with phase one. So all the people that was doing that already, you notice that y'all are the ones who are aligned with being the artists of Pharaoh Clan Records, because it's a whole different way that we doing this thing. And they wanted to take advantage of Ty. They wanted to take advantage of a lot of people, and I didn't let them. That's another reason why they got an issue. And a lot of that will be spoken of, and we have to go about that certain way. So far, you seeing why they don't know what's moving. And even with what I just said, they still ain't going to pick up on what I just said. So you thought 1440 Ty was some random person that I found out about because he went viral, because you don't know what's going on. No, all of this was the work that I was telling them was coming. Now, Pharaoh Clan Records signing 9 artists is not some random occurrence. So when you're dealing with, who remember Yu-Gi-Oh? How many people remember Yu-Gi-Oh? Because Yu-Gi-Oh was some shit that we grew up on. You know how you see in Yu-Gi-Oh, they pick up the card and they slam it, you know what I mean? And the power and all of this stuff. But you realize that the dragons and the demons or the gods and Exotica, all the rest of them beings, be in the shadows, right? Okay, that's what you would call spiritual warfare. And a lot of people don't know spiritual. For them, is just saying they don't see it. All right. So what you don't see is the industry's nuts are frozen right now because they don't know what the fuck I'm finna do. All they know is they did everything they could to stop this from happening. They did everything they could to stop phase one, Pharaoh Clan Records, all right, from coming forth, me and my Omi, from coming forth and being able, Zodia, being able to sign the artist that we just signed. So now we have done it. So you know something's been sealed. You know something has been undone. You know there were people that were around that became, traitors, that were telling people, don't sign anything because you don't know what it is and it could be dangerous and all that other stuff. It was people literally around whispering, saying, don't sign, da, 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 da. And they started to do this, slander thing. And it was so much happening at one time that I saw what was moving. Their whole goal was to attempt to stop the signing. Why? Why would they want to stop the signing? Well, let's talk about it. Y'all may not know the power that sits in y'all hands. When Sunday comes out with the song, We Have the Pen Now, right? What you may not be seeing or hearing is when you get to that part where she says, Malachi is getting out, the fuck is they talking about? Malachi is getting out, the fuck is they talking about? You hear a chorus, right? You might hear a hook, right? You want to know what I hear? Chanting. And when you have the ability to, and we will have people chanting that. When you have the ability to have people chanting that, Malachi is getting out, all right? It's like when the authority figure that's out here in the world is attempting to get people to move a certain way, and then one person starts this chant in the crowd. And they're like, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. And you can't overpower the people. Once the people get to chanting, ain't nothing you can do. So when she's saying it like that, and you hearing it, and you hearing the trumpets and the beat that she coming with, the beat sound like drill, not drill how you hear like out here with the killing and murder. I mean drill as in military. and you seeing a sister coming, y'all ain't paying attention. You see a sister, I don't think y'all hear me. You see a sister, I don't know if people hear. It's just, okay, it's just me in here. You see a sister coming out here with the afro. I don't know if y'all listening. Big afro, all right, fist in the air through her words. And you hear the militant sound behind it. You know what spirit that is. They haven't seen that spirit since Black Panthers. So what was able to activate that again? You see? And she coming out and say, Malachi is getting out. The fuck is they talking about? And she walking toward the screen. That ain't just no, you know what I mean? Even when she make the songs and she said, you know, we can, I don't know what to fuck up her lyrics, but she was like, we can do something. We can something pop off without showing body, some shit like that. Y'all know, my bad Sunday. You know what I mean? When she did that, that was another powerful thing because it's as attractive to them. You want to know how? You look at the comment, they like, man, we like this lady, or what's up with her afro? How you do the afro? Everybody asks a question about the fro. You want to know what happens and what they're gonna be afraid about? Sunday is gonna get bigger. Let me tell you the prophecy. Well, I don't want to say it like that. Let me tell you what's gonna happen before it happens. Sunday's gonna get bigger, right? And her what he call fan base is gonna grow exponentially. And you want to know what the young ladies is gonna want to do? They're gonna want to have their hair out in the fro, and they're gonna be asking her, "What do you do to take care of your hair?" And she's going to explain to them how simple it is. So all of this media of it's too hard to take care of your hair, that's not true. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, naturals or afro, which I had, is very easy to take care of, especially after you wet it and moisturize it. I had an afro for most of my life, okay? Until what I can't say most of my life, most of my childhood. I turned 11, or 12, that's when I really did my locks, around 11, 12. Okay, so wetting your hair, moisturizing your hair, oiling it, combing it, that wasn't hard. Okay, nobody said you got to comb your hair when it's dry, for one. You know what I'm saying? But moisturizing your hair, even if you did, it's not the hardest thing to do. It just take a little time. Okay, it actually takes more money and resources and time to get you a lace front. You ever seen somebody sit there for 16 hours? And I didn't know that was a real thing. All right. That's a real thing. Sit there for 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 hours, getting micro braids put in and all that stuff. It takes more to maintain hair that's not naturally yours. So that's a lie. So when she gets to explaining to people how simple it is and how easy it is to take, you know, that's a real thing. You talk to some of the sisters in here, they'll tell you. They'll sit there for over half a day getting their hair done. You see what I'm saying? Spend, $300, $400, $500 sometimes. You see, my mate just got braids literally 16 hours. I'm not making nothing up. Okay? Yeah. It don't take no 16 hours. 30 minutes tops. Okay? To comb through, moisturize, and maintain your afro for the day. Tops. You see what I'm explaining to you? So, guess what the sisters gonna be rocking? They naturals. When Brother Tafari comes out with the On My Feet song and he's telling the sisters, let your crown out, right? So their market is going to be in trouble because you're going to have a beautiful melanin dominant woman and women out here with their natural hair, not rocking. No disrespect to the sisters who rock their weaves. Y'all know I fuck with y'all. If you listen to my music, you know I fuck with you regardless. When you go listen to the woman song that I put on the Blood of the Lamb album, you know I rock with y'all with the weave, with the press, the eyelashes, all of that. It's just, you know, y'all are going to see very soon that we rock with you natural. Simple. And don't let them kick it either. I like to switch it up. You can switch it up with natural hair. That's another, no disrespect to the sisters that be saying that. But, you know, this is me you talking to, okay? You can switch it up. I've watched my sisters her whole life. My older sister switched it up. Okay, she had natural hair. All right, I met a sister when I was in high school. Okay, she literally switched her hair up every time she got an opportunity to, and she had dreadlocks, as you call it, or locks. So all that, I want to switch it up sometimes, even when it comes to the color. There are literal natural dyes or hair dyes you can use. You don't even have to use the bleaching that they use, and you can still, you know, I don't know if it's called henna or something else like that. It wasn't henna. Maybe it was. Who knows what it's called? Y'all can put something in the chat. But, huh? Yeah, henna. They had the henna dyed, right? That's the hair dye, right? They do it. I think they do it for dye, not just the tattoos. But either way, the sisters used to use even certain fruits with some different mixtures, and they were able to dye their hair. So switching it up is not hard. It's actually easier to switch it up with natural hair. So that's what I'm saying. They're going to see that. Watch what I'm telling you. You know I don't miss, right? And as a matter of fact, if you've been paying attention, Anytime Sunday posts, she go up anyway, right? She went from what you call it, I think it was like maybe 2,000, she said, up to like 7,000, 8,000. Watch what happens when you get 10,000. Because it's certain numbers that you hit that are called milestones, especially on this internet, okay? And people start paying more attention. So all she had to do is make another video, and then it'll go up again. And if you notice, she make a video, I say 1440 Ty, let's post this, and we collaborate on the video, and we help, and it's going to be like that for all the artists. So don't get it twisted. Everybody going to be going up, and every time you look around, it's going to be Pharaoh Clan, Pharaoh Clan, Pharaoh Clan. So everybody that's here, when you get off of here, another thing you could do to help is hit the link in the bio. You see it's real, and send funds. And we're going to be doing another thing with Pharaoh Funding. I'm going to do a Pharaoh Funding Telegram for people come in every week. Anybody that's a part of that group, every week we come in and we just put some money in on whatever the artist is at the time that we're focusing on, okay? Because we're going to have parts and times where we focus on specific artists. And what we build, I'm not going to say all the plans, okay? Because, you get excited. You want to tell everybody everything. But in all actuality, most of the stuff you're just going to have to see, okay, as you see. So you're just going to have to see it happen. And then it's like nobody can get in and do anything to stop it because it's already done. Now what are you going to do? They could talk about the event now after it's done. But when nobody able to make no phone call and say, hey, I just heard Phase 1 going to have this event here. Don't let him because Bob ain't cool with that. And now if you expect, and that's when you're going to hear about it. Same thing with when I did the first event and you saw the brothers and sisters. You look through the comments. For Amun, this, that. I'm not seeing any of that. You see? Do you see any of the Sabians with their Ranantat or names or Rananat? Any of the names of the Sabians and the Wapis? Anybody in here? No, they're not in here. And if they are they in the comments? No. All right, go look on this post when you get off of here and see if you see the family of mine, the Nuwapians and Sabians with the Ankhs and the Ankhtuis and all of that. You see them? No. But if you went to Lightweight page, guess what you see? All Nuwapians, all Sabians. They love everything you're doing. And then you look through the page, say, what does this have? Any of this have to do with Malachi, his freedom, and any of that? No. But it's always about, I'm healing my people. You're selling herbs. You see what I'm saying? Not posting for people to know where to go get the shit or what to do to make them sell. Like, you're selling the herbs. It's a business. And if you're not making your money, then what are you doing? So that's what it is. But they'll support that. But do you see them supporting the one he literally said, make sure everybody's pumping up for him and backing him? You know what backing means? Because he explained it further. He said when the artists back in our time, and I only know this because he said it. It's how you know I know. It's how you know he said it also. He said the artists back in our time will come out, we would go and buy 3 CDs. He said anytime they dropped the album or anything, he said we go and buy 3 copies. Everybody went and bought 3 copies. You see? He was literally saying that. He said that's how them other people do it. Y'all know what I'm talking about. He said that's how them other people do it. When their artists do this, that, and third, all of them invest back into their artists. You see? Well, when Phase 1 is out here pushing Nuwapu, I have to come to the ones who they would call the Gentiles or the ones who are outside of the tribe, right? And this is why we say we have a different fold, okay? The book of John, chapter 10, verse 16. Not just the ones who was around calling themselves the tribe of Judah or any of that. What about the ones who are on the outside who we have to come to and spread this message to, as you call the gospel, the good news to? Okay, we got to come to them because he said back in the Imam Isa days, ain't nothing different. He said, even though y'all are here and I'm telling y'all to come home, y'all still don't want to come home. He said, so I got to put on he said, I got to take off my robe and put on my suit and become Dr. York. And I go out into the streets to reach other people because even though y'all here and I'm telling y'all come home, y'all still don't want to come home. People that's closest ain't activated. I literally heard him say recently, y'all need to activate yourselves again. I literally heard him say recently, where are my helpers? I helped y'all, gave y'all ansarity. Where are my helpers? Right? Where's everybody at? He's asking these questions and they're getting mad at me because I'm asking what he's literally asking. And one day they're going to find out that he's been saying all of this. Well, only thing I don't have to keep doing is keep saying Dr. York said, Dr. York said, Dr. York. And I shouldn't have to because with sound right reasoning, you should be able to reason that this sounds right. You see? You should be able to. How is this a wrong thing? And if you're not paying attention, okay, let me tell you another thing. They were talking all that smack in one of the channels, right? Okay, you got to listen if you don't know what I'm saying. They were talking all that smack in one of the channels, and one of the children of Malachi was watching the whole thing, right? One of the children of Malachi, whose name I won't say right now. I don't like putting his name in a lot of stuff. He was watching the whole thing, and everybody knows this child. And after I saw that the sister was going to keep going back and forth about whether or not I need to run through one of the wives and all this other stuff, you know, or run it through them and ask them what they think and get their permission or tell them about it so they can tell Doc and all this other stuff. After I said what I said and said, listen, you know what? How about this? You talk to the master. You tell him what's going on. The motion ain't going to stop. After I said that, then the brother was like, yo, it was a beautiful event. Thank you for the invite. Because I invited him. So they were spending all that time talking about, I ain't tell nobody, da, 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 da. And I responded, I said, clearly I told some people, I just didn't tell everybody. There were a lot of elders at the event that know was moving and been around and da, 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 da. So if you weren't a part of it, it's a reason. I don't want to deal with disagreeables. And if I've tested you and seen that you don't want to make things move, I'm not going to wait on you. So that's why I said, when Malachi said everybody support phase one, and y'all didn't listen, what make you think I'm going to sit there and wait on y'all to get it? He shouldn't even have to say that. That's like, it should be common sense for y'all to support a Nuwapian artist. Anybody can think of a Nuwapian artist or artist that's a Nuwapian out loud, that's out here, that's been making noise? Meaning like out loud. I'm talking about before phase one, before what we're seeing. Do you see that? No. And you got a lot of Nuwapian artists. Okay, 21 Savage. Remember, I was telling y'all all of that. This has not stopped. I have not stopped. I'm still on the same mission. 21 Savage has not responded because what can he say? Because the moment you try to say, I have a whole list of receipts I ain't even released. Down to your mom, Dr. Amsu, Heather, everybody. We got pictures. We got photos of y'all on the land. We got photos of your mother on the land in the crowd. Like, what are you talking about? So, yes, you were. You see? So, what happened with 21 Savage? And you know he heard his own letter, but he ain't going to say nothing. Because everybody's scared and embarrassed and all this other stuff. That's not me. I have what you call valor and courage. This is a war. So, you can say whatever you want to say. I've been slandered. I've been reviled. I just got slandered recently. I just been betrayed recently. You know what I'm saying? People saying stuff, and you got to ask this person or these people, how were y'all able to sit here for 7 months and be around this man, and then you come out and say all this treacherous stuff, right, about him and disrespecting him and hating him and all of that and trying to get other people to rile up against him, but y'all were all there around him. It don't make sense. And then something happens, you don't get your way, and now all of a sudden he's all this stuff. You with me? That's exactly what they did to the master. Even though he told people, look, what's going on, TT? Even though he told people a long time ago, this is what you're going to do. The one he said, you're going to betray me. You want to know who that was? It was Habiba Washington. And she stood up and was like, I'll never this, I'll never that. And then she was the main one. And then she done came out and said the shit didn't happen, then came back and said after that, oh, it did. And now you're doing Hulu documentaries because you need you some money. You with me? So guess what we do? We just take it on the chin. We just, okay, all right, that's what's up. This is just what human beings do. They don't know no better. All right, we're going to keep pushing it. You see? So they expect everybody to be faking the funk. I ain't faking the funk. Nigga, if I cuss, I cuss. If I tell you I ain't going to the strip club, I ain't going to the strip club. If I say, if I wanted to have some type of party or anything like that, I'm bringing the shit to me, I'm bringing the shit to me. Anything that you know of me, you know it because guess what? I open my book and let you read my shit. I ain't never say I was some man that never made no mistakes, so I don't even care, like, talk about no mistake. All this shit sound weak to me. I'm a living being having an experience just like you have an experience. I ain't never tried to put on. That's another thing that burns they ass. Like, damn, this nigga not faking the funk, so what angle we gonna hit him from? You can't. Because what can you tell somebody, or how can you expose somebody that's out there in the open? What are you talking about? It's the, you want to know Pop's sister, Waukee said to me? She said, it's them, it's them peace, love, and light ones that you got to watch. It's them all that, oh, peace, love, and light, brother, da-da-da-da, whoop-de-whoop, God bless you. It's them. It's them that got all the darkness and all the shit they're trying to hide. I don't have nothing to hide about who and what I am. You see I'm explaining to you? And we getting shit done. Then another question is, why the fuck is you so focused on who and what I am? Who and what are you? Y'all remember that Alice in Wonderland movie? Who are you? The fuck is you doing? Why everybody got to say something to say about what the fuck I'm doing? And then we look at your life, your highlights, what you got going on, and you ain't doing nothing. But sitting there, waiting. You sitting on top of your talons. You done buried it. And when the master come home, he going to ask you, what did you do with it? He going to take off his shades. He going to look you in the eye, say, okay, I was in the belly of the beast for 23 years. What did you do to help me? You see? And you think you're going to be able to say, I gave you some money. No. You think you're going to be able to say, I chanted. No. Because everything is recorded. And then most of y'all live life on the internet, so everything literally is recorded. All your pictures, I've been on a cruise, all your Dubai flights, all your this, that. You were living life. You were not concerned about Dr. Malachi York. You didn't care nothing about him. You didn't care. And that's why he sent a message out, said, to everyone who cares, give them my love. Because he know these people don't care. So just because you say Rahu Bat or you speak my language, that don't mean you walking with me. I'd rather rock with somebody who's from the hood. That's why I'll tell you, I fuck with people who just really who they are. You know what I'm saying? You can get in touch with me. You can say something to me, but all these people faking the funk, I don't got nothing to do with them. You with me? So, all right, back to the foolproof method. When you see me in the blue suit, all right, blue bow tie, the Masonic emblem, all right, and I'm holding up the bag that says foolproof method. This is me bucking on those who call themselves the higher ups, all right, the ones who were sure that the spell would last, okay, more than 300 years and all of that. We already started breaking the spell before I arrived, okay? Who started it? Dr. Malachi York, the opening of the seventh seal, breaking the spell on blacks, all of that. Remember, he was the one who popped all of this off, okay? So your so-called foolproof method, okay, wasn't as foolproof as you thought. And every generation, you have to realize that more and more and more. This is why everybody that's coming with the rhetoric of we slaves and our ancestors this and all this stuff, we got to shut all that down. No, we're not waiting for reparations. So anybody say, like I said in the song, we're not waiting for no reparations. We don't need no reparations. In the letter to Amaretta, I said, we don't need reparations. We need people who got the patience to endure, like to make these changes happen. Okay? You see people in the comments say, we do need reparations. Ask them, how do you know whether or not your ancestors were slaves? And the conversation stops. That's when they start either hating you or listening. That's either one of the two. They're going to either hate you right then because you just tore down their whole illusion. And they don't like that. People hate that. They got people that built whole political campaigns and careers off of us so-called blacks being slaves, right? We were slaves. Nigga, when was you born? I was born in 1985. Nigga, you wasn't no slave. What do you mean we were slaves? Well, what do you mean our ancestors? Give me my 4 grandparents' names back from grandparent, great-grandparent, great-great-grandparent, great-great-great-grandparent. Tell me their names. Well, I don't know their names. All right, now name all of yours for 8 generations back. You don't go back further enough even in your knowledge of what their names are. How can you tell me whether or not they were slaves? You just got here. So you believe that if you see somebody with melanin dominant skin or the melanin dominant gene, okay, or the melanin appearance, that they must be descendants of slaves, meaning everybody who was melanin dominant was a slave. Do you know how many people had the melanin dominant gene back then? You understand what's playing to you? You're going to tell me all of them were slaves? You with me? That they had enough masters to master everybody. So then you, in the same bullshit stories, y'all gonna tell me that there were black abolitionists. You know what an abolitionist is, right? They were black abolitionists that had the ability, go back and read, what do you call it? The Constitution, the 13th Amendment. All right. They had the ability, 13th, 14th, and the 15th Amendment. They had the ability to do what? Break out slaves and free them and all of that. And they were slaves too. They were fighting for the abolishment of slavery and going through the government and all of that and filing and signing bills and they were slaves. No, it's a lie. The whole story is a lie. You say, how is that possible? Well, first of all, why would the government want to keep reminding you of that? Why would they want to keep reminding you of their quote unquote dark history when they cover up all the other stuff? Why would they want to keep reminding you were slaves? It's an inferiority complex that they're continuously trying to reestablish in you and make sure it survives. And they put these people called politicians in position to do just that. Try to convince you that you're victims and you're oppressed. Oppressed people and minorities, these are spell words. And you're looking at somebody who's 27 years old. I just got here to this little world, right? I've been here 27 years, and I have the same suit, okay, called the melanin dominant body. And I'm telling you, I'm not nobody's minority. This shit is major. You see, I'm explaining to you? Don't accept that. When they call you a minor, don't accept that. You understand? Oh, we're talking about minors, blacks, Hispanics. I'm talking to all mine. All right? All y'all who call yourselves blacks, all y'all who call yourselves Hispanics, all right? You're not minors. Don't accept that title, okay? If you so minor, why they need you so much? Okay? Don't accept that it's 13% of y'all either. How that number ain't changed in all these years. That's bullshit. It's a spell number. That same number I told y'all was associated with the bee, okay, the beehive, okay, when you read the catechism from 1728 that I spoke about in How to Speak Elite book, when I was explaining to you how they built their whole thing off of the blueprint of the ancient Egyptians of how to establish a successful caste system, okay, and keep people down at the bottom of the pyramid, and they called them the minority. It doesn't mean less of you. Think about what I just said. The minority is at the bottom of the pyramid, according to what they say. Look at their sociological pyramid. The elite are at the top. There are fewer of them than there are of you. However, they've made it be that they are elite because of the resources that protect them, the military that protects them. They're not naturally elite. That inferiority complex is not even scientifically valid, and they know it. So even if you did want to misconstrue the state representative votes as the 3/5 human beings, meaning that the melanin dominant people or blacks, as you call them, or Negroids, were 3/5 of a human being, okay, which is a misinterpretation is why I said that. Even if you did, it doesn't even make sense scientifically. How are you going to tell me that those who are called melanin dominant genetic possessors are fewer or less than, okay, those who are melanin recessive genetic possessors? How you going to tell me that someone who's called melanin dominant is less than the one called melanin recessive when the recession part is saying that the M1CR or what do you call it, melanocortin, your MC1R receptor, the melanocortin 1 receptor has mutated into the R151C, which becomes the pheomelanin, as you call it. You see? So you're telling me that the mutation goes down and there's a recession, and you say these are Caucasoids. So the Caucasoids would have to recede from the Negroid, and it does not go up, meaning you would not have two Caucasoids mating, and they'll produce the melanin dominant gene. So tell me how that's supposed to be inferiority. How are we supposed to be less than? How is our skin and our nose a curse? How is our lips a curse? You see, so we're not stupid. We don't play your race games, but we're not going to play these race games. You see? And as Dr. Malachi York taught, no one wins a race in racism. You see? So we're not blinded by all this black man is God, white man is the devil, or vice versa. You're not blinded by either of it, but you're not going to play these games. You with me? So one of the things that they wanted to push was that melanin dominant people all over were slaves and their ancestors were slaves, and it's all lies. And ask them to prove it. Be like, prove it. Prove that your ancestors were slaves. Well, they said this, that the people that were in this area, no, prove that your ancestors were slaves. Do you know? No. All right, how about this? You believe that y'all were slaves. You don't know that. So everything you've done in your life based off of we got this and us this and our people this has been based off of belief. Let me ask you a question. Is it possible that you have ancestry who were conquistadors? All right? Or conquerors of the lands, if you remember it that way. Those who came in and conquered people. Look at the word conquistador, conquer. Is it possible that you had Caucasians who were slave masters in your ancestry? Yes, it is. Okay, so just because you are melanin dominant now doesn't mean that you've always been melanin dominant, which is why I broke one of the people's brains that said that they would come on to debunk me. And I said, people don't reproduce asexually. Meaning, just because you're looking at this person on the screen and he looks like a so-called black person now, doesn't mean he's always been a black person in his lineage. I could have Mongoloid ancestry. All it takes is one person to mix in to start adding other genes. If you study heredity, It don't take but one person and 3 generations to take one race, as you call it, which is a melanin variation, genetic variation, and turn it into another. You see? So if I were to get with a Caucasoid and mix with her and have a baby, you would call it biracial, meaning it's 2 races or 2 nations that have been produced from that union. And from there, that biracial child, if they were to go on and mate with a Caucasoid, all right, the melanin would recede more, all right, which is why you go from the thicker follicle, as they call it, hair, all right, to the more hollow hair as you proceed, okay, downward or recede downward. And then afterwards, in that 3rd generation, that'll be a full-blown Caucasian, which they say they could say they have black in their lineage, but they'll be a full-blown Caucasian, and when they mate with a Caucasian, it will not go back up. It will stabilize as you are now a Caucasoid with this type of melanin, okay, and this type of genotype and phenotype. You see? And that's just with the Caucasoid Negroid. You could also add in Mongoloid and get some changes. The point is, just because you're looking at somebody who dark skinned, don't mean that their ancestors were all dark skinned. They could have a whole ancestry full of Caucasians, as you call them. So watch this. They say, listen, this person's a European. Y'all ready? 1, 2, 3, go. European. What comes to mind? I see you. You see this white guy, right? Skinny face. I mean, he probably got like the George Washington get up on, the skinny patch for some reason. You see it. It's actually coming more into vision in your mind as I explain what that foggy image was, right? Okay, we can do that all day. You ready? Asian. Okay, how many of y'all, oh, you ain't shit. Some of y'all saw Jackie Chan. We ain't gonna go too far into this because y'all ain't finna get me in trouble. All right, so listen, some of y'all see Asian. Okay, you see the Asian. You think you know what Asian look like. You ready? African. All right, everything, even in your subconscious, just shifted to a darker color. Even the atmosphere of where the image has to sit just went darker and went to a lower frequency, by the way, because you think darkness is lower frequency, which it is scientifically. It depends of whatever the augmentation is. But watch this. Okay, you're looking at all these different images in your mind. You see the European skinny face guy. You see Jackie Chan, you Jet Li. All right, and then you see Africa. You see Shaka Zulu. You know what I mean? You see Michael Blackson, the rest of them. Right? Okay, cool. So why did you think of the guy, the first guy with the skinny face, when I said European? Europe is a place. It's not a race. You see the tricks? Foolproof method. Stay with me. Europe is a place. It's not a race. That's a lie. So you say European, you shouldn't think of no Caucasoid because Europe is a place. And there are melanin dominant people in Europe. And there have always been melanin dominant people, according to what they say, in those regions. All right. When you think of an Asian, why didn't you see a melanin dominant person? The Asians look like the Native Americans. The Native Americans were said to have been mixes between the melanin dominant people and the Asians and Hassan and them that came over to invade and all that stuff. It's a whole nother story, right? So Mongoloids invaded also, according to what was being recorded, invaded the, what do you call, Negroids of that time, the woolly hair ones who would have been said, not really necessarily the Moors, but indigenous, as you were saying, so a bunch of words you could use, of the lands of the Turtle Island, as they saying it now. Or Americos, Amaraco, which wouldn't really have been Amaraco. Amaraco would have been in a whole different location. But I get what they're saying with that. So the dark lands of America, the Americas, Egypt of the West. All right. So, yeah, what made you see the European? Let me tell you what. Commercials made you see the European. Propaganda made you see the European. TV shows made you see the European as some Caucasoid. What made you see Michael Blackson when you thought of African, right? Commercials, okay? Propaganda, TV shows. When you think of the Asian, what made you think of Jackie Chan? Everybody does karate, okay? Commercials, TV shows, propaganda. So you're today old when you think, and it makes sense as sound and right reasoning, that is actually social engineering. That's a good one. That a Chinese person looks a certain way, a European looks a certain way. All right. You shouldn't see that image. That's a spell. You should know China is a place, not a race. You should know Africa is a place that has been named, by the way. It wasn't always called that. You see what I'm explaining to you? Whether you call it Ganawa, whether you call it Al-Kibilan, which is a whole other thing, whether you call it Africa, Africa, okay, whatever word you want to use, the motherland, Kemet, whatever words you want to use, okay, it's a continent. A large heap of dirt and jewels and elementals. That's what it is. But you say African or Africa, all right? Remember, that's what Apostle was explaining. Faraka is saying to divide, like division, okay? So watch this. When you think Africa, that's a place, not a race. When you think Europe, that's a place, not a race. And watch this. Think of an American. You see how you end up with fractals? That's why they call it a melting pot, where they put a whole bunch of people from all these different places in here doing commerce, all right, on the land that they were never originally on. Their ancestors were never originally here. So you get fractals when you think of what an American is. But you start thinking about all these other places, and you will, unless you're from, now watch, let me tell you where it was shipped at. If you're from outside of this country, you may think of an American as whatever you've seen the commercials or the stereotypes or the propagandas to say an American is. You might see Steve Jobs. You might see Steve Harvey. You might see Steve Hawkins. Okay? You might see Beyonce. It depends on what your commercial is or what an American is. So everybody has their idea, but you still have to look at the fact that these are places, not races. All right. So when you say African descendants of slaves, all right, none of that makes sense. They call it ADOS. And you need to be like, next time you hear ADOS, you be like, hey, those words don't even match. That's what you need to do. Don't tell them I told you. All right. So next time somebody say ADOS, oh, I'm with ADOS. Be like, yo, ADOS don't make sense. Okay. How are you an African descendant of slaves? All right. When you don't have any type of proof that you have African ancestry yourself. And you want to know what they're going to try to say? Because I've talked to them for ages. You know what they say? They say, all of us are from Africa. Oh, okay. Well, then Caucasians are African descendants of slaves. Because there were Caucasian slaves and they have African ancestry, right? So we're good. Everybody needs reparations. Let's just call it, I don't know, taxes. And let's have a good day and let's focus on the things that we need to do. And they're like, no, we need money. I'm like, so you want money for what you think your ancestors went through and you don't know whether or not they went through it? What if they pay you and your ancestors owned slaves? Then what do we do? So you just got paid for some shit that you put my ancestors through. You see, it's all confusion. And they know they can't prove it. They know it's all a lie. All right. Unless they go back to the immediate ancestry, which you may have documentation of, where some of your ancestors, immediate ancestors, whether it be your grandmother or great grandmother, would have been indentured servants or people that pick cotton and things like that. Yeah. But even still, you have to look at how the economy and the cost of living has changed and shifted. What would be the value of what they would have been owed if they were owed anything? Because how can you say they were owed anything if they were making 20 cents a day and they went to go spend 10 cents on a bag of rice and 10 cents on a bag of beans, and that's how they lived and that's how they ate daily? Okay, what were they owed? What are you going to say? They were supposed to get paid this amount or X amount of dollars for the cotton that they picked and they never get paid. But you don't know any of that stuff. So here's what it all boils down to. And this is what y'all been hiding behind. And I'm going to tell you the truth. And people are going to hate me because I tell the truth. And Nuwapu taught me to do this. Y'all just want some money. That's it. You want you some money. That's it. Because if you were knowledgeable of what you're saying, you wouldn't be asking for money. You would be asking for your land back. Remember 40 acres and a mule? Do you remember why they were saying 40 acres and a mule? Even though they owed you, those of y'all in those stories, those of y'all ancestries as Native Americans, they owed you way more than 40 acres. They ripped you off of your own land, said, here, you can have a little bit, man. How about that? And you was like, okay, because you was like, we need something. Those of y'all who was in that day and time, because it may not be everybody, you will be asking for your land back. Okay. You see the bag? You see why certain things I don't talk about yet? Okay. I'm going to say it like this. They done fucked up, but they don't know how they done fucked up. Because as much as I talk, I don't say shit. Just watch. And keep watching. Wouldn't you be asking for your land back? Where all the Native Americans went? Because you keep showing me the Native Americans that look like they stayed in that area of Southern America. You keep showing me the Native Americans that look like Hispanics. We see them, and y'all done scattered them and trying to tell them that Mexico ain't a part of this thing. That is some foreign land. You drew the line. It's not a real line. You established the borders. We got our borders. Your borders don't fucking exist. You made it up. You're on their land. You see what I'm explaining to you? Now watch it. Because you start talking about certain things, you start saying certain letters, they will, try to shut down certain things. So just read between the line, right? You put some water in the freezer and after a while, okay. You're telling people that they have to get off of their land. And y'all don't be listening when they be saying, my ancestors own this land. This is our land. Y'all be thinking that they just throwing a random fit because they getting deported, as you call it. You see what I'm explaining to you? No, this is the same thing. Y'all are trying to do a land siege again. You see? Because these people came in and they were able to do what you didn't expect them to do because you thought they were just going to work for you. They were able to build their own communities, live of and for and by one another. All right. They support one another. They don't bother nobody. They speak their language. They live by their customs. You see? And they're growing and they're becoming more and more successful. Now, all of a sudden, they got to go. You see? You're trying to move them. So what you think you're watching some people come through and get arrested and deported. No, what you're really watching is the Indian Removal Act all over again. This has happened before. You see, and people just stand by and watch it, and they don't care nothing about the pain they're going through and the children that's being separated and put in concentration camps and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And the pain that the children are going through. You see, the pain that the fathers go through when they separated from their wives and their children, and the wives are going through when they separated from their husbands. As mothers, they got children. Okay, all that's pain. You want to know what that was called? At one point in time, they talked about it for a little bit and asked us to forgive them. The Trail of Tears. And then they're going to do it again, and they do it in different ways. And you want to know what's so crazy? Is y'all not paying attention. They coming for them and displacing them, right? And they coming into your communities and displacing you, but they call it a different thing. They say gentrification, right? Or they come into your communities and they displace you, and you're not going to tell you that if they're coming for your neighbors who are referred to as Hispanics at this point in time, guess who they're coming for next? You see? And then you see videos, people say, yo, I'm black. And they say, we don't care. And they still put them in the trucks. And people are getting kidnapped in the name of these establishments or these agencies. And people just watching it happen. And this has happened before. You see? So this is, like I told y'all, there's a war on what? Sovereignty. Remember when them planes crashed and the plane crashed to the helicopter go earlier this year and go around February? You're going to see where I put a carousel up of a bunch of photos of things that were going to happen this year. You saw the plane crashing. You saw the funeral thing with the American flag on it. You saw the train derailments, all this stuff. All this stuff wound up happening, by the way, this year. There's a lot of things I put there. Just keep watching because there's a war on sovereignty. Okay? You saw the Wicked movie and how it came out. They were explaining more about what the backstory is and what people don't really know about who they told you was wicked and who you thought was the ones who was doing the right thing. And they told these stories of valor and all of this stuff. And all actuality, you were sitting here on stolen land. You had a song that was supposed to be speaking about what you did. This land is your land. This land is my land. No, it wasn't. They were bragging. Y'all got a holiday that y'all about to celebrate, okay, an unholy day that's bragging, okay? Even when they say, we don't want to hear all that woke stuff, we just want to come together as family. Y'all should be coming together every day. That's your problem. You're letting them tell you when to come together, and then you try to make light of it, when in all actuality, you're being subservient. Let the truth be known. Yes, be the person at the dinner table that says, y'all know this is all a lie, right? Be that person. Make the family uncomfortable. It's time out for all the lies and the illusion and that dry ass turkey. We tired of it. The truth is, you captured the indigenous people